For more than 60 years, almost every generation of WWE has fought over the same prize. Bruno Sammartino carried it for nearly 8 years. Hulk Hogan used it to become one of wrestling's biggest mainstream stars. Bret Hart lost it in one of the most infamous backstage betrayals the business had ever seen. Stone Cold turned it into a symbol of rebellion, and decades later, Roman Reigns used it to rule WWE like an empire. But there's something unusual about the WWE Championship, because the story begins with a championship victory that may not have happened exactly the way fans were originally told. And that strange beginning tells us something important about the belt. The WWE Championship has never represented just the best wrestler. It has always represented power. In early 1963, Buddy Rogers was the recognized NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Then, he lost that championship to Lou Thesz. But promoters Vincent J. McMahon and Toots Mondt, who controlled the powerful Northeastern wrestling territory that would become WWE, rejected the result and separated from the NWA structure. A new world championship was needed, and Buddy Rogers became its first recognized holder on April 25, 1963. WWE would traditionally tell fans that Rogers earned the championship by defeating Antonino Rocca in a tournament. But even WWE's own historical profile of Rogers describes that tournament as something McMahon and Mondt claimed had happened. In other words, the most important championship in WWE history was born during a business separation and surrounded almost immediately with wrestling mythology. But Rogers would barely have time to establish himself. 3 weeks later, another man walked into Madison Square Garden, and everything changed. On May 17, 1963, Bruno Sammartino defeated Buddy Rogers in roughly 48 seconds. What followed is almost impossible to imagine in modern WWE. Bruno held the championship for 2,803 consecutive days, 7 years, 8 months. Through challenger after challenger, Sammartino became more than WWE's champion. For the company's Northeastern audience, especially inside Madison Square Garden, he became its foundation. When Ivan Koloff finally defeated him on January 18, 1971, the result became legendary because audiences had spent nearly 8 years believing Bruno was almost impossible to defeat. Sammartino later returned for another reign lasting 1,237 days. Then came Bob Backlund, another remarkably stable champion who held the title for more than 5 years. For the first 2 decades of its existence, the WWE Championship wasn't designed to change hands constantly. The champion was the attraction, and the championship told fans exactly who the company trusted to carry the business. Then came January 23, 1984. The Iron Sheik had recently ended Bob Backlund's long reign. At Madison Square Garden, he defended against a returning Hulk Hogan. Hogan escaped the camel clutch, hit the leg drop, and became WWE Champion. And WWE itself would soon become something completely different. Vince McMahon was expanding aggressively beyond the company's traditional Northeastern territory. Television, celebrity involvement, and eventually WrestleMania pushed WWE toward a national audience. Hogan became the perfect face for that expansion. Suddenly, the championship wasn't simply the most important prize in a successful regional wrestling promotion. It was attached to the man WWE was using to sell professional wrestling to America. When the first WrestleMania arrived in 1985, Hogan was already champion. The belt had become part of WWE's transformation from wrestling territory into entertainment empire. By the 1990s, the championship was moving faster. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, The Undertaker, Yokozuna. The belt reflected a company trying to find its next identity. Then, in 1997, a championship storyline collided with a very real business problem. Bret Hart was WWE champion. He was also preparing to leave for rival WCW. At Survivor Series in Montreal, Hart defended against Michaels. Michaels placed Hart in Hart's own sharpshooter. Hart did not submit, but referee Earl Hebner called for the bell anyway. Michaels was awarded the championship. What became known as the Montreal Screwjob wasn't merely another scripted title change. It involved a real backstage decision designed to remove the championship from a departing performer. The belt had become important enough that Vince McMahon was willing to permanently damage relationships to control who left the company carrying it. And strangely, the fallout helped create the next era. 4 months later, at WrestleMania 14, Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated Shawn Michaels for his first WWE Championship. Mike Tyson counted the pinfall, and the WWE presented it as a changing of the guard. Austin was nothing like Bruno Sammartino, nothing like Hulk Hogan. That was the point. The WWE Champion was now a beer-drinking anti-hero whose greatest enemy was his own boss. Austin even received the personalized Smoking Skull Championship, a belt designed around his identity rather than tradition. The championship had evolved again. During Bruno's era, it represented stability. During Hogan's, mainstream expansion. During Austin's, rebellion. When WWE acquired WCW in 2001, the championship picture became complicated again. At Vengeance that December, Chris Jericho defeated The Rock for the WCW Championship and then Steve Austin for the WWE Championship on the same night. Jericho became WWE's first undisputed champion. It sounded final. It wasn't. In 2002, WWE divided its roster between Raw and SmackDown. After Brock Lesnar became WWE Champion and moved exclusively to SmackDown, Raw suddenly had no world champion. So Eric Bischoff introduced the World Heavyweight Championship and awarded it to Triple H. Once again, WWE had 2 top championships. That structure helped define the next decade. And in 2005, John Cena defeated JBL at WrestleMania 21 to win his first WWE Championship. Cena would become so closely associated with the title that his customized spinner belt became one of the defining championship designs of the era. In December 2013, WWE tried unification again. WWE Champion Randy Orton defeated World Heavyweight Champion John Cena at TLC, combining the championships into the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. 3 years later, another brand split created another problem. SmackDown had the WWE Championship. Raw needed its own world title. The solution was the Universal Championship, first won by Finn Balor at SummerSlam 2016. The cycle had repeated itself. 1 champion, 2 champions, unification, separation, and then, in 2022, Roman Reigns brought the 2 worlds together again. At WrestleMania 38, Universal Champion Roman Reigns defeated WWE Champion Brock Lesnar in a winner-take-all match. Reigns walked away as undisputed WWE Universal Champion. His WWE Championship reign would last 734 days before Cody Rhodes finally defeated him at WrestleMania XL on April 7, 2024. The lineage continued moving. In 2025, WWE billed John Cena's victory over Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41 as his record-setting 17th World Championship. Cody reclaimed the title months later. By 2026, Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk had all become part of the championship's continuing story. As of August 23, 2026, WWE recognizes CM Punk as the current undisputed WWE Champion. And that brings the championship back to what it has always represented. Not simply who won the last match, but who WWE believes belongs at the center of the company. Buddy Rogers was there when a new promotion needed legitimacy. Bruno represented stability. Hogan represented expansion. Austin represented rebellion. Cena represented an entire generation. Roman represented dominance. And every time WWE changed, the meaning of its championship changed with it. The belt has been redesigned, renamed, split, unified, vacated, stolen, and fought over for more than 6 decades. But through every version of WWE, one idea has survived. If you want to know who the company believes matters most, look at the person carrying its championship.